join, whether you're on visually or you're just joining by phone. I was really touched to be able to to been asked to do this, and I thought I'd share my story. But first, I want to introduce our amazing guest. Her name is Gloria Coppola, and she lives in Florida. She has been in the holistic health field for, dare I say, 30-some years. She is a published author, an educator, a lifestyle specialist, a wellness coach, an incredible entrepreneur, a mentor, and a wonderful friend for me. She's helped thousands feel better and get healthy, and I'm blessed and fortunate to be one of those. So thank you, Gloria, for joining us on this episode number 2.
Yeah, well, thank you, and welcome everybody to Fit, Fabulous, and Over 40. And you don't have to be 40 to be here, but someday you're going to be 40. So join us anyway, or invite one of your family members. Anyway, Kathleen, thank you for taking the time today. You know, you've had quite the journey, and I want to address that today. Our topic is how artificial sweeteners are affecting our health short-term and long-term. And, you know, sometimes products get put out there, and even doctors might recommend them, or other colleagues, healthcare professionals, and we just trust, you know, we just do things without questioning. And, you know, first thing I want to tell everybody is make sure you really do your research on things, question why things are out there, what they're supposed to do. Because, you know, the magic pill, the magic formula really isn't so magic. And so about, let's see, in the mid-90s, I mentored under a nutritional biochemist. And nutritional biochemists are rare in our world. They really understand the chemistry and the science of our body. And I learned so much from this genius that it has helped me in my wellness coaching in my lifetime too. And he was part of a research panel that began to look into the ill effects of NutraSweet or Equal. And he had an article which I lost along the way in the years, but I wish I had it. But now there's some things out on Google and all. As a matter of fact, Mercola, M-E-R-C-O-L-A, has a great article out there. And in this article, the first paragraph was enough for me to never, ever touch diet anything. And while I didn't really use diet products, I will admit every once in a while I did a Diet Coke, because who wants to put weight on, right? When you're enjoying something that's a treat, or you're cheating. But after reading just the first paragraph of 4 pages, I swore I would never put anything diet in my body again. And at the time I was a massage therapist. And so the first paragraph talked about a lot of the things that we see as massage therapists, including headaches, joint pain, you know, fatigue, all these different things, muscle issues. And so I was realizing there was a correlation, and I began to ask my clients when they would come in and talk about some of these different, you know, ailments they had, do you use any diet products? And the majority of them said yes. So Kathleen, I know you've shared with me some of the issues you've had, and I want to let people know some of the other things that could be, you know, related to this. There are things like headaches. So if you're suffering with migraine headaches, some people have gone into seizure, even miscarriage. The rate for, you know, childbearing years with the females right now that are on Diet Coke and Diet Pepsi and Diet whatever, the miscarriage rate is at an all-time high. And so every time I see somebody with a diet soda, even when I travel on the plane, I just want to take it away from them, because not only are they pouring acid in their body, but they're also pouring this cancerous causing chemical compound. And while it is also partly aminos, which we know our body needs, the chemical processing and the way it has been sitting, you know, on shelves for a while, under heat situations, and then it goes into our body, creates a lot of these symptoms. There's the brain tumors. And one of the other things too is actually weight gain. So isn't that interesting? People take diet products to lose weight, but it actually puts weight on. And why is that? Well, anything that is not from nature and chemically compounded, your body doesn't recognize. And so eventually your organs, your pancreas, everything, your liver are working overtime, exhausting your adrenals. And then guess what? You're going to start putting weight on. But here's another thing that happens, and Kathleen, I know you can relate to this. You get sugar cravings. Why is that? Well, because they want to sell more, right? So it's been pretty amazing how all of this is kind of snowballed and affected a lot of the health issues that people have. And I want to let you guys know that there's a new version coming out. So be mindful and aware that anything chemically modified is not good for your body. It does not recognize it. And that's what this nutritional biochemist told me back in the 90s. He said, Gloria, sugar is natural, okay? He said, and raw sugar in its natural form, in small amounts, the body can recognize it, it can digest and assimilate it, it knows what to do with it. But when something has been modified from nature, the body has to work extra hard. It doesn't know what to do with it, and therefore, we start breaking down our body some more. The other thing I want to add out there to all the ones that are younger that may see this recording is if you are considering pregnancy, okay? There have been research and studies done that the artificial sweeteners have been found in the baby's blood and can actually cause birth defects. So, you know, we all want healthy children. We don't want to cause any harm out there. So again, be mindful. And if you're looking to just, you know, lose weight, there are ways to do it without artificial ingredients. So Kathleen, you've had quite a bout with this. And
Yep.
I want you to, you know, tell our audience today, what were some of the first signs that you noticed in your body, even before you realized it could be something else causing this from what you're putting in your body?
Well, it's funny. What I was going to say is now totally different because, as you mentioned, all the symptoms, hindsight is always 20/20, and everything you just mentioned, I experienced. So like I sort of have frustration and anger building up in me right now, knowing that I was on some health diet programs and things like that as I was in my childbearing years, and I suffered miscarriage. It makes me angry to know that, you know, I was trying to lose weight as a nursing mother. So diet, you know, they tell you drink water, but I was still drinking diet soda. So that part of it is very angry. And when I read that Mercola ad or article, some of the things that was allowed to be done to let this toxic chemical be out in mainstream is just mind-boggling. And I wish I had known about this 30 years ago, obviously. And I, you know, thought I was doing the right thing. Diet sodas and things that were diet and fat-free were no points or very low points, and without mentioning some things. And I, you know, it was very addicting. One led to another, led to another. I mean, I remember buying 2 liters of soda. We always had, you know, the 12 packs were on sale, buy 4 for $11. And we always had diet sodas. And not growing up, not in my childhood, soda was a special treat. But as an adult, I thought I can buy my own soda now. And it wreaked havoc on my body.
So Kathleen, you know, you mentioned you had a lot of the symptoms that I talked about. Tell us about the day you couldn't get off the couch. What happened?
Well, actually, it started on a Sunday morning a couple years ago. I woke up and my boys and my husband were already downstairs. And I woke up and I felt like I had the worst hangover ever without the party. Like the room was spinning, my head was pounding, I thought I was going to be sick, I was nauseous, I didn't know what to do, I couldn't lift my head up off the pillow. And I thought I had like a flu virus because I had something similar to that year before on Christmas Eve, actually, or Christmas morning. So I kind of thought I was sick. So I wasn't sure, and I went to stand up and I almost fell over. So I literally crawled on my hands and knees down the steps to the couch, and my husband and my boys were like, "What's going on? What's wrong with you?" And I said, "I just need to lay down. I need to lay down flat."
Yeah.
I couldn't have a pillow. I couldn't talk. I had to cover my eyes. I was so dizzy and nauseous. It was terrifying. I didn't know what to do.
And that's actually when you know you have the poisoning. You get the dizziness, the nauseousness, all those symptoms you described, because you know this stuff is fully absorbed into your body, into your cells. And you said you didn't have the party, but you had the formaldehyde cocktail.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming you went to the doctors, the hospitals. Tell us what happened from that point.
Well, at that point, I mean, I was laying on the couch, and my husband, he was like confused. What's wrong? What do we need to do? And he was really close to calling an ambulance because I was that sick. Like, we didn't know we had never experienced that before. And no, I'm all right, I'll be all right. Just help me to the car. We'll go to the emergency room. So we went to the emergency room, and I remember not sure, like, I barely remember. I just remember, like, kind of laying down in the wheelchair and kind of like cussing everybody out in the emergency room because they were busy. And I sort of was in this weird drug-induced fog at that point because I was so sick and confused, and I didn't know what to do.
So what did the doctors do for you?
Well, they did so many tests in the ER. I had CAT scans and blood work and, everything under the sun, but I couldn't hold anything down. So they gave me an IV, and they decided I needed to be admitted. I was so sick that I needed to be admitted to figure out what was going on. I was at that point diagnosed with sudden onset of severe vertigo. So they admitted me. 4 days of testing, physical therapy, trying to figure out what was going on. Finally, a nutritionist came into the room, and she started talking to me about what I do. And at the time, I had a really stressful job. I had been working a lot and really, really traveling a lot that month. And if anybody travels for work, where you usually just see your job and your hotel and the airplane, you need caffeine and sugar. So basically, I lived on diet. Well, Coke Zero was my drug of choice, and lots of coffee with lots of Splenda or Equal or whatever packet that the hotel had. So by learning my diet and what I had been doing and eating, and I was eating out, and a lot of other things contributed to my bad nutrition that month. But it stuck with her that I said, she said, "How much do you drink of the soda, the diet sodas and the coffee?" And I said, all day long. And she said, "Do you drink water?" I said, "Here and there." It's strange because when you're working I was actually working in grocery stores. And when you work in a grocery store, to buy bottled water is more expensive than to buy a diet soda. So everybody was just like, "Oh, who wants a Diet Coke?" or "Who wants this?" So, that weird financial thing in my head said, "Oh, well, why buy water when I can buy a diet soda for the same price?" So anyway, so the nutritionist decided that it more than likely was aspartame poisoning because I had had such a high dose of it in those few weeks prior to this incident. So, they changed my diet, cut out all the diet stuff. And then I went to some physical therapy, but I spent a month on the couch recovering.
And I remember you saying something about your ankles. What was going on with your ankles, your feet?
Oh, ever since I was pregnant, like, I was dieting here and there before I got married, but after you have a baby and you gain 100 pounds and all that, I noticed that my feet took a beating, and I always thought it was the extra weight. But my ankles would swell up, and I had a lot of inflammation, and that was kind of the key word. Excuse me?
You don't have that issue anymore, right?
Oh, no. No.
Your feet relate to your entire body. So there's actually reflex points in our feet that relate to every single organ. So as a person in the bodywork field, one of the things I look at is people's feet. and I can tell from the condition and pressing certain points what organs are even stressed out. So it's no wonder that you were experiencing that issue with your feet and your ankles. It was already telling you what was going on internally.
It was so bad that when I got out of the car, like I would drive from store to store or whatever I was doing, I'd get out of the car and I looked like I was 100 years old because I could not hardly walk. And until I got to walking and my tendons and joints would stretch out a little bit, I suffered with heel spurs and tendinitis and all kinds of foot issues.
So let's fast forward a little bit, Kathleen, because you've had some great changes in your health over the last 2 years now, I believe, right?
Yeah. 2 years.
Oh, wow. Okay. So what began to change, your symptoms and bring your health back?
Well, I started with, it's funny, I thought it was just a weight issue, but when you think back, I had gained and lost the same 20, 25 pounds, and all of my symptoms still stay the same. And so for me, it started with a weight loss, looking for the next great thing, this quick fix, the solution for weight loss. So I did the accelerated 10-day transformation. And for me, yes, I had incredible weight loss initially, but for me, for the first time in my life, symptoms were gone. And, I still struggle, but the symptoms are not, I have never come back.
Yeah, and when you say you struggle, I know because we've chatted, you have the sugar cravings, the carb cravings, and that is one of the signs that poisoning is still in the cells because it plays havoc with you. And because of all the intestinal issues that have gone on for so many years, we've chatted too about the parasites that, mess with our brains as they eat sugar because it doesn't want to die. So you're doing great, Kathleen. You've made some amazing strides. You look beautiful. You're getting younger. It's been amazing to watch your progress. So what tips do you have for people out there that are going through this same kind of health struggle?
Well, first of all, I'd say you're not alone. I mean, obviously, I still have that. And the second thing is, people think that sugar cravings and these kind of things is a weight issue, and it's not, because my brother, who is a toothpick, is going through his own sort of detox right now because he has the parasites, and we believe that that's what's going on in his digestive system. So it's not a weight thing. For me, it is, because I feed those parasites, whether it's with, and of course, here's the double-edged sword about that is, in the past, I fed those parasites with diet sodas and diet fat-free because I didn't want to gain weight. So now when those parasites get hungry, I lose control, or I don't really have it together, I feed them with, number one, either regular sugar or a carb, a bread or something like that. And that has been the biggest struggle for me, is shutting down those parasites and sticking with a system that works, killing those parasites, and then continuing on, because all it takes is a couple days and boom, they are out of hiding and ready to go.
Yeah.
So
it's so important, Kathleen. When we talked about doing your transformation with the super cleanser followed by the advanced probiotics for 20, then hitting your system again, because there's a cycle with those parasites. And for those of you out there, if you Google, the yeast connection or candida, you'll also find the link with a lot of the symptoms that Kathleen was talking about too, with, not only the sugar cravings, but the migraine headaches, the joint swelling, all these different things. It's pretty amazing what those little buggers can do to you too. But Kathleen, I want to commend you for staying on the journey. A lot of times people just give up because, again, we're used to that quick kind of fix in life of, oh, I'll just take this or this and it's going to solve everything. And you have stayed the journey, and you've done well, and you've helped other people, which is really beautiful. So I want to thank you for that. I want to find out if anybody who is listening out there has anything that they'd like to add in their own experience, or if you have any questions. And you just have to unmute if you do. Okay. Well, what I'd like to close with too, Kathleen, because it's not just the diet stuff. There's a lot of artificial stuff out there, artificial colors besides artificial sweeteners. And those artificial colors are not only in foods, but they're in cosmetics, they're in body washes, you know, they're in candy, they're in all sorts of things, okay? They're in your makeup. And there's heavy metal poisoning in that too. So I want you to really be more conscious of the things that you're putting in and on your body, because you could be doing one thing to try to get rid of something, but then you're not realizing that the artificial colors simply in makeup, okay, or a cream or something that you're using is also contributing to these same kind of symptoms. And one of the things that I found actually with Purium is the fulvic zeolite, which is a heavy metal detoxification. And artificial colors are heavy metals. So between the artificial sweeteners and the artificial colors and all these heavy metals, you know, we're seeing a lot more health issues out there that are not part of aging, okay? And it really has to do what's happening in our body. And, you know, you guys, you know, some of you have heard me say, you know, doctors told me too, hey, Gloria, it's just part of the aging process, what you're going through, even though my stuff was a little different, but it wasn't. And turning 61 in a couple of weeks, I feel fabulous, you know, making these kind of changes, just like you know, Kathleen, and continuing the journey to do that, okay? And so no matter how healthy we think we're eating, trust me, there's still more you can do that you can be mindful of so that you're feeding your cells the best possible nutrition. And for the ones out there that are still in the childbearing ages, you want to feed that baby the right stuff too. And Kathleen, you mentioned, you know, drinking the diet soda, going through miscarriages, breastfeeding. Well, for those that are breastfeeding out there, remember, everything you eat comes through that breast milk, okay? And on one of the calls of Purium, I don't know if you guys heard it, but they were talking about how the breastfeeding moms were drinking their green shakes so much that the breast milk was actually had a tint of green. And that's not a bad thing, okay? That's a good thing, just to show you the power of what's coming out for that the baby is actually being fed to them. And as we know, Power Shake is loaded with immune system enhancers. So Kathleen, in closing this interview today, and thank you again so much for everybody coming here, what final words to help somebody out there would you like to give?
Well, I guess I want to say at first, trust your gut. You know, for years, I went to the doctor and looked for solutions. I had young babies. I was tired. I was depressed. I had undiagnosed postpartum depression. I was drinking Diet Cokes to stay awake. And I went to my doctor and, oh, it was, you're a new mom. Moms are tired. She sent me off to the #1 weight loss solution, which is what led me to more diet drinks and things like that. So I would say trust your gut. I mean, I knew when I laid on that couch for a month watching infomercial after infomercial that something was wrong, that I was not feeding my body what it needed. And I started watching documentaries. There's some incredible things out there. And David Wolf, his infomercials over and over and over with the NutriBullet really started me on my journey and led me to Purium. So I would say trust your gut. If something's not right, your doctor might not have the answers either. So I would say go back to the basics.
Doctors aren't trained in nutrition. They're trained in emergency health, you know, for the most part, or simple basic things. You know, I worked for doctors for over 12 years. And I was fortunate actually that the neurologists I worked with actually did take the time to learn more about nutrition and holistic health, and was the one who put me on my journey, believe it or not. You know, he used to give prescriptions for vitamins, and people would laugh and say, so where's my prescription? It's like, this is it. He wants you to feed your body with good supplements. So I want to thank you, Kathleen, for taking the journey to beginning the detox process. It's been, you know, a process for you. And again, commending you that you're sticking with it. And Aaron, I know you're out there listening, so if you're interested in doing anything healthy for your body, Kathleen has a $50 gift card for you. And the rest of you ladies that came on to get educated today, thank you so much, because you're going to take this information now and go help somebody else. So God bless you all. Be fit, fabulous, no matter what age you're at.
Thanks, Gloria.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.